If you're selling online, doesn't matter whether it's through Shopify, Amazon, whether you're drop shipping and private labeling, or you're importing it, selling it, whatever you do, you would have some sort of exchange rate between different currencies. So you're either importing from overseas and selling it in New Zealand, or importing from overseas and selling it in US and Australia and UK and everywhere in the world, and you basically spending and receiving money. As a result, you would have exposure to the exchange rate changes. So that there is a risk for you when the exchange rate changes, and those changes can be a little of 5%, 2%, and those exchange rate, it doesn't mean much when they change 5%, because you see the sense of, instead of 85 cents, it's 80 cents now. But in a big scale, like if you're purchasing $20,000, $30,000, or selling that much every month, that is going to affect your bottom line. So it's very important to look at those exchange rates. So the exchange rate is up and down and is changing all the time, so you have to monitor those exchange rates. And usually for New Zealand or Australia, it's between Australia, New Zealand and US dollars that you're dealing with. The other thing is, when you start a business and naturally you open a bank account in your local bank and you use your credit card for paying for all the fees that you pay overseas, if you pay Amazon fee or pay Shopify and other apps that you use, you transfer the money through some sort of transfer through your bank to your suppliers in China or India to manufacture that, and people pay through Stripe or Shopify Pay or Amazon, and that money comes to your New Zealand bank account. But the problem with that is the New Zealand bank rate, even between the different banks. So if you consider ASB National Bank is not the ANZ, Westpac and other ones, if you compare them, they are different. There are 2-3% between them, the difference between exchange rate. And on the top of that, all of them, they're charging a base fee for each transaction happen. Whether it's a credit card, you see the most of them, they have the overseas fee there, separate from what you purchase, and they have the exchange rate, and they have, like, if you transfer your money to overseas, they charge you $20-25 on that. So if you add up all this amount, it's going to be a huge amount, and especially when you're receiving money. So if you're selling on Amazon and you receive the money in New Zealand dollars, and then paying your suppliers in US dollars, you're transferring New Zealand to US and you're transferring US to New Zealand. Each time the commission is about 5 to 10% as well. So you're using between 10 to 20% in the middle of the transaction, and it is a huge amount. So the solutions that we use and we suggest to our clients to use when they're selling online, one of them is Payoneer. Payoneer is providing those exchange rate at the great rate, and if you're a Wise Advice client, you get even a better rate because you are a client. And so you're getting those rates. The rate is a lot cheaper than a bank that don't charge you the fee, and you're actually keeping those money on the current currency that they have. So when you're buying, when you're selling in Amazon or in Australia, overseas, everywhere, the money goes to US account, and then from US account you can pay your supplier in China or in India, and then whenever you need and when the exchange rate is a good rate, you can transfer it to your New Zealand bank account. So that coming and going from New Zealand account doesn't happen a lot, and you save a lot of money on that. The other thing that happened, they give you a debit card, and the debit card will help you pay some of those subscriptions. So Amazon FBA fees and Shopify subscription and all the app subscription and Facebook ads, or anything that you want to pay that is in a foreign currency, you can pay with those debit cards, and it doesn't exchange again back and forth. So the debit card is a great. The other service that we use and lots of our clients use is TransferWise. So TransferWise does the same thing. So you can go online, open a bank account in different currencies, and you can have actually a local bank account in UK, your local bank account in Australia, local bank account in US. And the good thing about it is you can see them all in a mobile app and online, and similar to Payoneer, it gives you a debit card. So you can again use the debit card for all of the purchases that you do for your subscription and everything. And you never transfer everything straight to New Zealand dollar. You keep it there, you use it as much as you can for all the expenses that you have in US account, and then transfer it to New Zealand dollar when you need it. So make sure if you have any foreign currency, use one of these two services to make sure you're not going to lose a lot of money on exchange rate, and also watch the exchange rate market, because when the government change in US or New Zealand, or anything changes in the world, the US and New Zealand dollar or US and Aussie dollar will change rate, and if you don't watch that, you can on a bigger transaction you can lose a lot of money or gain a lot of money, either way, which is good for you. So monitor those accounts. If you have any question, or if you want to set up any of these two payment methods, contact us at wiseadvisor.co.nz.